Hello and welcome to another Sports Talk. I'm Frank Noppenberger, your host, and I'm with today two of the best ever at East Brunswick history. We got Tori Glasscock, who's an outstanding swimmer for our championship team this year, also a track athlete, and I'm sure you all recognize John Schleifer, state champion, our 7th state champion. John's going to be going to Princeton this year after a stellar season at East Brunswick and an undefeated senior year. John, let's go with you first. Princeton, tell us why Princeton, what do you want to major in, and what made Princeton happen over another school?
Okay, well, I visited the city many times with my family. It's a beautiful city, beautiful campus. And once I got to learn a little bit more about their education, I was really impressed. It's one of the top undergraduate schools in not only in the country but in the world. And as I concentrated on where I would continue my wrestling career, I was really inspired by the ambitious coaching staff and the seriousness of the program. So it was an easy decision to make.
And you want to major in what? Do you know yet?
Yes, I want to major in engineering, chemical or material science.
And we're not going to forget you, Tori, promise. But John, real quick, the wrestling season at the college level starts when, and it's finished up just about now at the end of March, right?
Right.
But it starts when? I know officially.
I think it starts a couple weeks after high school.
Right, right. Okay, good. Now, Tori, you just finished an outstanding championship swimming team season with the Bears. You're going to be going to where?
I'm going to be attending Stevens Institute next year.
Majoring in?
I'm leaning towards science, technology, and society as opposed to a strictly engineering major. So.
What was that major again?
Science, technology, and society.
Wow. And what?
That's what it's called.
And what's that going to be?
Well, it's a pre-med or pre-law major, and you can also go to grad school for engineering, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, so that gave me more options than just going for like mechanical or biomedical engineering.
Good. And as far as athletics there,
I'll be swimming. It's a D3 school, so captain's practices start like the end of August, and then our official season starts the beginning of September.
Oh,
and it ends, if you make NCAAs, it ends the middle of March. Right. For most people, it's February.
Good. Tell me about the recruiting process for you. Did you recruit them or did they recruit you? Just so the young people know how that all works.
Well, for me, I looked at a lot of schools, and I always knew about Stevens, but it wasn't originally on my list that I was looking at. And then I had visited Hoboken with my family, and I took a look at the campus, and I didn't want to have an urban campus, but I also didn't want to be in the middle of nowhere. So Stevens is a closed campus, but it's also in Hoboken, so it gave me like the best of both worlds.
Oh, good. Now, John, besides Princeton, who else was recruiting you?
Some of the other Ivies, when I narrowed down my choices, like UPenn, Harvard, Cornell, and Columbia.
And how did, for the young people out there, how did the Princeton staff find you or hear about you?
Well, I think in wrestling, off-season helps with recruiting a lot more because college coaches have a lot more time on their hands to see prospect wrestlers compete.
And you get involved in, was it summer tournaments and nationals?
Yes, I won sophomore nationals, and after that I got a little bit of attention, and actually I had a really good tournament at a big venue in North Carolina, and I took 3rd place, and that got me even more attention.
And what was there? Was it letters calling you? Was it emails? Phone messages?
At first it was questionnaires that came in the mail and to the school that got delivered to me. Then I started getting emails asking about my interests. And after that, I filled out most of the questionnaires. And the colleges that I was really interested in, I made contact through email. Right. And eventually got on the phone with the coaches.
Oh, good. Tor, how about you?
I started getting a lot of emails the summer before my junior year from a lot of small D3 schools. And then I would go on their websites and compare my times to theirs. And if I really liked the way that their philosophy seemed or their coaching staff, I would reach out to them more, maybe give them a phone call. And then this fall and the summer, it was a lot of phone calls.
Oh, good. So, wow, you really good job with that. How did you get involved in swimming? Is that a family thing? And don't tell me it was in the backyard that
No.
was splashing or something.
I'm actually the only one in my family that swims. My family goes to Brookside Swim Club in Milltown, and I took swim lessons there with my brother since I was like 3 to 5. And every day after swim lessons, the swim team would get in, and I would stare at them. And I thought it was really cool because I always loved the pool, and they got to be in it. And I played pretty much every sport, but swimming was kind of the only one that I was constantly doing something instead of standing around. So that really drew me to it.
And your brother stood around in the goal, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, he swam for 2 years, or a little more than 2 years, but then he moved towards lacrosse.
And he just stands in goal now.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. John, your goals this year, I mean, was there anything else besides state champion?
I guess along the way, to win each individual tournament, and even in between that, to just dominate every opponent and to better my technique from every single match.
Like, did it matter what the score was?
In a way, it did. I never wanted to just win any match. I always wanted to dominate and come out showing that
Right.
I was that much better than the other kid.
How about you, Tor, when you were winning those meets? Did it matter if it was by half a second or a second? Or
Well, it
well,
always.
and first of all, let's tell us about your favorite event.
Okay, well, my favorite event is actually the 200 butterfly, which isn't a high school event. So my favorite high school event is the 200 IM. I like doing all the strokes at once, and I think it shows a lot of versatility, and it's a lot of fun to swim.
All right.
Well, coming into the season as a team, we definitely had our eyes on the GMC championship. We knew that it was something we could do, and we had been working really hard for it. After we took a look at the GMC as a whole, and we had our eyes set on that, and I wanted to do everything I could to help our team get there. Individually, I had my own goals that I wasn't able to accomplish because of an injury, but I mean that happened, so I have 4 more years to make
Right.
them happen.
And you guys compared times, right,
Yeah.
with the opponent, and you could almost figure out where you're
So
gonna be.
we would look at like the seniors and juniors of the top teams in the GMC and see where we stacked up. And in the GMC championship, you score up to 16th place. So our goal was to have as many girls getting 16th place or higher. And we did. We had the most girls out of anyone that was scoring throughout the whole meet.
Oh, right. I didn't realize that. Good. Now, John, you guys, wrestlers, pretty much match up in C. Was there any doubt in your mind you were going to stay at 160, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think of going up or down, or you want to stay at 160?
I knew there was some good guys around my weight and in my weight, but I chose to just focus on myself, improve on my own technique, on my own conditioning, and my own strength, and I knew the rest would fall into place.
Right. And I know this story, but tell the audience and those that have never wrestled before, maybe they're going to get inspired by your story. When did you get started as a wrestler, and why?
Okay, so when I used to live in Israel, I was actually involved in a couple of sports. My parents got me involved in gymnastics, swimming, and judo. And I always liked judo the most because of how competitive it was, you know, just you going against another man. And when we moved here, we couldn't really find a judo place that was nearby. So with the advice of my old judo coach, I got into wrestling, and that was even more competitive in my eyes, and it just appealed to my nature.
And how old were you then?
About 10 years old.
and you've wrestled through rec and everything.
Yep.
At a young age, 10, 11, 12, 13, did you know you were good? Or were you getting your butt kicked and improved as you went along?
I won most of my matches, and coaches and other parents have always, my own parents have told me, have congratulated me on my wins, but I just focused on getting better because I knew there was someone else always training to beat me.
Okay, Tori, tell me about your typical day. You get up at 6, 7, get ready for school. I'm trying to get at is how do you balance the academics and the athletics?
Well, in like the heart of the swim season, I get up around 6, and even earlier if we have a before school practice, which starts at 6. So then I would get up around 5:15. It's usually just dryland practice. Go through the whole school day. High school practice is from 3:30 to 5:30, and meets would sometimes last a little longer. And my club practice is from 7 to 9 or 6 to 9 each night. So it's a pretty full day. But in between all that, you always have to make time for homework and studying. And I did that by putting study halls in my schedule during school. So I would have time to study for the test that I needed to and not be so stressed out after school.
Right. Sundberg's big on tapering off. Tell the audience what that means and how he trained you for that. And John, I want you to think of that because I'm going to ask you, do you guys taper off? Go ahead.
So for a big meet, what we try and do is, well, we're on like a training cycle. So in the beginning of the season, we start off with long distance just to get your body used to it and your cardiovascular strength back up. And then we'll move into just faster, longer distances. And then about a month before your big meet, you want to do like a lot of sprinting and a lot of race preparation. You try and like stimulate a normal race and what you would do during that. And typically about 2 weeks before your big meet, you start having shorter practices, less intense, just so you can get your energy back up, because your body's so used to creating lactic acid, like you need to let that go down. And for GMCs, Sundberg had us tapering for about a week and a half, and you really only want to have 2 or 3 taper meets a year, so we pretty much all hit our tapers this year, which was really good.
Right. Now, John, so that is as they approach the meet, the big one, they rest their body. Is that going in wrestling? Is your practice as intense day one as it is 2 days before the state championship or whatever?
Our high school practices definitely got shorter and more focused on technique as opposed to conditioning, close to the final tournaments. But I kept lifting and running on my own, and I guess shortening my runs, going more for speed.
Now, you went down to Atlantic City on a Friday or Thursday?
Yes, Friday.
So you get down there and you wrestle right away, or you had to sit for a while, right?
Right, so we get down there, I weighed in, and then I had to buy the first round because I won regions, and I wrestled in the second round
So
that day.
did you practice that day, or where did you work out, or what did you do?
I think I just maybe jumped some rope a little bit just so to get my weight down, so I could eat something to have energy.
Right. So you don't have a full-scale practice during that tournament time?
No, it was just recovery, stretching.
Right. Now, you're both dedicated and involved, and this is a question I always ask the young people. I'll ask you first, John. Do you think you missed out on anything from the high school experience? Because, you know, wrestling school, and you've got to study a lot. You got like a 4.3 GPA. Do you think you missed out on anything? Do you have any regrets about that?
No, I actually don't have any regrets at all because it was all worth it. I know I had to miss a lot of instances of hanging out with friends or going to school events just so I could get my practice in or extra workouts. But I would never let that get in the way of reaching my goals because I knew that it would all be worth it at the end.
Good. Tora?
I think everything that I've missed is made up for what I've gained with swimming. every event that I go to with my team has enhanced my high school experience. And if I ever have to miss hanging out with my friends, they completely understand, because for me, what's important is reaching my goals that I set back when I was like in 8th grade or a freshman. And every time I check off one of those goals, I completely forget about that Friday night that I was at practice instead of with my friends, and I'm not really fazed by it at all.
Right. The next question is the joy of winning or the disappointment of losing. If you had to measure that, what are you more fearful of, losing or winning? What's more emotional for you, the losing or the winning? Go with you, John.
Okay.
Because I felt your pain last year down at AC. And I've never seen you express emotion until you gave that after the GMC. I mean, after the States. What do you think? The joy or the afraid of failure?
Well, going into every match, I have to have confidence. I have to know that I'm going to win. So just that fact, I think, makes losing more emotional than winning. Because when I win, I know that I've accomplished my goals. And when I lose, I know that I've fallen short. But at the same time, losing makes me work even harder. And the best lessons are learned from your failures.
For me, it's kind of a 50-50 just because of experiences that I had. Whenever I win, I'm always looking ahead, and I don't really ever just like bask in my glory, I guess, because I don't feel that I have the ability to do that, because there's always somebody who is going to be working just the same amount as I am, so I try and work even harder than they do. So every time I accomplish a goal, I just take that as like I can do even better next time. But when I lose, it makes me really angry. So it gives me that much more motivation to work harder in the pool and do that little extra thing that nobody else is doing, so I have a mental edge. And it's not really a fear of losing per se, but more of a fear of letting down my team and my coaches. So that's what drives me to keep pushing.
Do you have that same drive in the academics?
Yeah, I would say it doesn't come out the same way, because for sports, it's more about a team aspect for me and not wanting to let my team down. But in the classroom, it's more about what I want to do and the goals that I have for myself, and it's very individualized as opposed to what I want to do for my team.
John, you have the same?
Yeah, I mean, in wrestling, you can have all the supporters you want, all the coaches you can have, and all the love and support from your family and friends. But once you step out on the mat, it's all on you. Only you are responsible for that outcome. So the same thing can be said about taking tests or performing in the classroom.
You're having finals coming up soon, sooner than you think, because it's going to be here. The teacher says to you, John, you got a solid A. For you to get an A+, you're going to have to get 100 on this test. You're exempt if you want. What are you going to do?
I'm going to study my butt off, and I'm going to take it.
Whoa. Tor? Senior year now. Now, you're already going to Princeton, right?
Yeah.
You're already there.
I would do the same thing because I wouldn't want to fall short of what could have been. So.
Well, good for you guys. All right. Now, one sport person. A lot of sports till you just concentrate strictly on swimming. And how old were you then?
I was 9 when I moved to swim.
12-year-old. Should he concentrate on one sport, or should he do multiple sports? Who wants to take that? Who wants to answer that? You go first.
I think he should do what he or she loves and has fun with.
Do you know what you love at 12 years old?
I know what I have. Well, I knew what I was having fun with.
Right.
So
it's
pursue it. Pursue what you're having fun with to prevent the burnout that comes to a lot of athletes along their high school careers.
Tor?
I would say if you're enjoying every sport that you're doing, keep it up until it starts getting to you mentally, and your performance starts to suffer because of it, and then figure out what sport you like and what sport you think you're going to be potentially really good at, and then move from there.
If you did another sport, do you think you would have been as good a swimmer as you are? If you didn't give that percentage of swimming your attention?
If I had to split my time between another sport and swimming, I think I would have had a much different experience with swimming, and I don't think I would have reached my full potential because of the fact that with swimming, a lot of it is not only physical training, but it's a lot of mental training, and I feel like I get a mental edge from knowing that every practice I don't come out wishing I would have worked harder, because I work as hard as I can every day. And if I had to split that time with like soccer or lacrosse, I wouldn't have been able to do the same thing.
Good. John, I think I've heard this from you, but role model. Do you have a role model? Who is it and why?
My parents are kind of role models to me because they left Israel after living there for 13 years. To come here to provide a better opportunity for me and my brother and our family as a whole. So that inspires me to take advantage of every opportunity that I can get.
How about athletes? Not saying your parents aren't athletes. Do you have a favorite role model athlete?
Yeah, Dan Gable, and the stories I've heard about him and from him and about him motivate me to work as hard as I can. I know that after winning a national championship, he went out for a run, and that.
Well, I know a guy that right after winning a state championship in wrestling at East Brunswick started jumping rope.
Well, actually, to go with that, when people asked Dan Gable about why he did that, he said that's just what he was used to. That's all he knew what to do.
Right.
That's the only thing he knew to do at that moment.
Yeah, see, I believe, as you guys heard my captain's stories and lectures, we all need role models. We need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, you know, pieces of everyone. Tor, besides me and Sundberg?
I guess my longest role model has been my older brother. Not to be cliche, but we're only a year apart in school, so we grew up together, and I watched him overcome adversity like time and time again, and watching him work on the lacrosse field and go to the wall to bounce the ball back and forth when none of his other teammates were doing that, it provided me with an insight into the way his mind works regarding sports, and I wanted to work just as hard as him and become the leader that he did. So he really inspired me to focus solely on swimming and not let anyone else take away from the experiences I could have.
Do you guys ever fight?
We actually don't really ever fight because we're pretty similar and we're both really into our individual sport.
You
so
don't quarrel at all?
I mean, occasionally.
Okay,
but
now we're getting there. From never to a little
occasionally.
bit. That's okay. John, you've had basically one wrestling coach, but 2 or 3 assistants in your careers. Let's pick on Coach Pazinko. What do you think he's taught you most, or what do you admire about him? And
what I like about Pazinko and also Coach Inazo and Coach Roy is they're very passionate about their job and about the sport. They keep coaching and yelling, supporting the kid that's wrestling, even if the other team has already sealed the win. They always care about the last every wrestler until the last match.
it's, wrestling, contrary to what people think, is not an individual sport. By you not getting pinned, you've helped your team,
Right.
that sort of thing. How about the couple? You've only had Sundberg, right?
well, for high school swimming, yeah.
Right.
But
So tell me about Sundberg.
Sundberg is, out of all the swimming coaches I've had, he's the best one I've ever had. He's just so dedicated, and when you have a coach as dedicated as he is, it makes you want to be there and want to work hard, not only for yourself, but because of the time he puts in, you want to make sure that you're giving him everything that you can. Before I had him as a coach, I was really cautious about my goals because of fear of failure, and I didn't want to look on a piece of paper and see that I fell short. But he taught me it was okay that maybe you didn't reach your goal this season, but that's not the end, because you always have another shot and you can always work harder. And he really refined the way I approach swimming mentally, which helped me a lot. And I don't know, I can't thank him enough for that.
Do you know he's a very competitive person?
Yeah.
Oh, you do know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that too, John?
Yes.
They goof on you sometimes, John, about your ability or lack ability with balls and things. John, I would say that your fondest memory of high school is the state championship. Mm-hmm. Is there another one that's close?
Not really a moment, but just being with my teammates.
Right.
On the bus.
Good.
And even at competitions, that really brought us closer together.
And unless you're involved in a team like that, it's hard to explain to people, right? I mean, I've been at your banquet. You did a great job at the end of the banquet, your speech. And Tori, you were excellent last night too. But you can just hear the bonding of the teammates and the fun together. Tor, I'm going to say that yours was the GMC championship. Yeah. But is there another one that's close?
I can't really pick out any real race that stands out, because all of my favorite parts I did with my team. I really liked the morning practices we had.
I'd go by there in the morning, and I got the swimmers like exercising, and he's on the ground pretending they're swimming. I really think sometimes he flipped. I wasn't sure about that.
I think it brings us a lot closer than people realize, and going through practices that you don't really want to be at makes you realize that everything you do affects everyone around you, and I like the fact that we're all there together.
Good. We're running out of time. Real quick, what's your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be? And it's got to be real quick, or if you want to thank someone, this is your last minute. You got 1 minute here.
I want people to remember me as not necessarily a good swimmer, but as someone who took East Brunswick swim team and moved it to a new level. And I guess over my 4 years, the one person I would want to thank is Sundberg, because he's helped me so much.
Well, I think you've accomplished both those without a doubt. John?
I want my accomplishments to stand as a challenge to future East Brunswick wrestlers, because nothing is impossible with hard work, determination, and the love and support of others.
Well, let me just tell you what a privilege it is in watching you guys develop over the years, and how you carried yourself as a lady and a gentleman, and brought great recognition to East Brunswick. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to help me out here, and for everything you've done to East Brunswick. And I know you'll be successful whatever you do. And your parents are great people, so go home tonight and hug them and thank them. Thank them for me.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this Sports Talk, and go Bears.